7 decades ago, if you had walked the vibrant streets of Tehran, you wouldn't have found an enemy of the West. Instead, you would have found a nation that looked to the United States as a beacon of hope and a partner in progress. But today, as we look at the headlines of 2026, those two old friends stand on the precipice of a global catastrophe, their fingers trembling over the triggers of a conflict 70 years in the making. Some call it a religious clash, others a nuclear standoff. But to truly understand the firestorm consuming the Middle East today, we have to look back to a single moment in 1953, when a secret alliance between the CIA and British intelligence shattered the soul of a nation. In 1953, Iran was a burgeoning democracy led by Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh, a man whose only crime was wanting Iran's oil to belong to Iranians. But in the cold shadows of the early Cold War, Washington saw not a patriot, but a threat. Through a covert operation known as AJAX, the United States orchestrated a coup that toppled Mossadegh and installed the pro-Western Shah as an absolute monarch. It was the first time the CIA had ever overthrown a foreign government, and while it secured oil interests for a few decades, it left a permanent, festering wound in the hearts of the Iranian people. They didn't see America as a savior. They saw a predator that had strangled their democracy in its cradle. This was the original sin that set the bridge between Tehran and Washington on fire. By 1979, that fire became an inferno. The Shah's iron-fisted rule, backed by American dollars, finally snapped. The Islamic Revolution swept across the country, led by the Ayatollah Khomeini, who branded the United States the Great Satan. The world watched in horror as angry students stormed the U.S. Embassy, holding 52 Americans hostage for 444 agonizing days. For an entire generation of Americans, this wasn't just a political crisis. It was a national trauma that transformed Iran from a distant ally into a permanent villain. The bridge was not just broken, it was gone. Now, in 2026, the stakes have evolved from embassy walls to the terrifying silence of nuclear centrifuges. We have watched a tragic cycle of hope and betrayal. The 2015 nuclear deal offered a brief glimpse of peace, only for the United States to walk away in 2018, pivoting back to a strategy of maximum pressure. The 2020 assassination of General Soleimani by a U.S. drone brought the two nations to the literal brink of war. Today, as Israeli and Iranian forces clash in the shadows, and Iranian streets erupt in protests against a suffocating regime, the world holds its breath. Negotiations are whispered in the halls of Geneva and Oman. But with Iran's nuclear clock ticking past the point of no return, the question remains, can 70 years of systematic distrust ever be undone? Or are we simply waiting for the inevitable spark that will turn this long-simmering tragedy into a final global explosion?